The 1796 contest pitted Federalist and Vice President John Adams against the former Secretary of State and leader of the Democratic Republicans, Thomas Jefferson. Adams came out victorious by a slim margin, carrying 71 electoral votes to Jefferson's 68.
John Adams believed that he deserved the presidency. He had had a long, distinguished career. He had contributed mightily to the success of the revolution. It was his time.
In some ways, it's easier for a president to be himself, succeeding someone of the opposite party, than it is to be a president who is seen as the third term of his predecessor. John Adams embodied that curse.
At 61, Adams brought an impressive background to the presidency. He had helped write the Declaration of Independence. He had negotiated the treaty that ended the Revolution. And Adams had been a delegate to the Constitutional Convention. He had the resume, but lacked one essential quality.
His great problem, of course, was he wasn't George Washington. Washington was a majestic, literally larger-than-life figure who looked like he was born to wear a military uniform. John Adams was a short, squat, balding, rather unprepossessing New England lawyer.
Some people referred to him as his rotundity. He was not a dashing figure. Even when he got dressed up for events, he might put on a sword. He looked kind of pedestrian.
The second president had more than just image problems. In retaliation for Washington's proclamation of neutrality, France had seized more than 300 American merchant ships, a disaster for the American economy that drove insurance rates on shipping up 500%. Adams sent diplomat James Monroe to Paris to negotiate. The response he got enraged the nation.
French were looking for a bribe, and they were unwilling at that time to negotiate, and they wanted a little something to grease the palms in order to open up the negotiations.
Americans, they saw it as an insult to their sovereignty, an insult to their independence. They were not being treated properly, and it became an enormous issue. And people wanted to declare war on France.
Adams, however, knew that with an army of just a few thousand troops and a navy of only 25 vessels, the new nation was no match for the might of the French.
He said, let's not rush into this. Let's not go off half-cocked and do something that we can't really handle.
Many saw Adams as weak and timid for not answering this challenge to American pride. He attempted to rebound and show his tougher side by signing the Alien and Sedition Acts.
We were afraid of aliens, foreigners coming in and somehow or other taking control. The logic behind that being the government's so new and so fragile and so unproven that if people start to say nasty things about the government and its leaders, it'll collapse.
And so anybody who spoke ill of the government could be arrested, fined, and some people were, some newspaper editors especially.
The Alien and Sedition Acts were just a terrible law that basically, trampled on the Constitution. And the ink was still wet, basically saying freedom, well, it's a nice idea on that piece of paper, but we're not really going to do that here in the Adams administration.
The Alien and Sedition Acts doomed Adams' presidency, but in an ironic twist, it would also allow him to make one of the most important contributions any president has made to the office and the nation.